the NBA has a real problem, y'all. I don't know if you noticed or not, but players can just go whatever team they want to. It doesn't matter how long their contract is, whether they're a free agent or not. They can just force their way out of their contract, especially if they're a star player. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen countless times, more than a handful of star NBA players that just force their way out of their team to go play for the team that they want to. Not even just force a trade, but they literally force their team to trade them to a specific team because all the other teams know, oh, if we trade for them, they're not going to resign, so we won't give up much. So the only team that give you a lot, hello, is the team they want to go to. And we're going to be talking about that today. Ladies and gentlemen, that bell was just a reminder if we're prepared for takeoff towards the upcoming video. Just strap in your subscribe button and activate your like button for a smooth takeoff. Enjoy your flight with Untitled Sports. Over the past year or so, I'm sure you've heard at least a few people talk about star players forcing trades from their own team, and people have different opinions on this. Some people think it's a good thing that players have empowerment, and some people think it's a bad thing because it kind of ruins the fan experience. They can force their trade to whatever team they want to, and if they decide they want to be on this team no more, then it's over. Everything the teams done gave up to build this team, you know, the draft picks they gave up, the players they got to build around you, it's kind of over at that point. And I'm just going to say I fall on the side of I don't like it. Now, if a situation is really bad and the team is terrible as a bad front office, don't surround you with anything for a while, I can kind of see forcing a trade. But even then, you did sign an obligation. And the fact that I don't like is that a player can be like, okay, I don't want to play for this team anymore, but I only want to go to this team or this team. Now, I know they want to contend. Everybody wants to compete for championships, and that's a good thing. But what they basically say is they let it out in the open. They will not re-sign with any other team that trades for them. And if they only have like 1 or 2 years left in their contract, well, the team that already has the player, they're kind of like, well, shit. The other teams will only offer us like a quality starter and a first-round pick because they know they won't resign. But this other team's offering us 5 first-round picks and a decent player, and you know, some young players or whatever else. You know, just for example. And so they usually trade them to the team that they want to go to, and the star player gets off happy, and the team that had them is absolutely fucked because they didn't really get the trade they wanted to or have a free and fair trade market. And listen, man, if an organization just wants to grant their star a wish and trade him to the team he wants to go to, of course that's fine, man. If they want to stand by their star and do that, I just don't think stars should feel obligated to get traded to the team they want to and should be able to force it the way they do, because they shouldn't be able to screw over the team, you know, that they're leaving just because they're not happy anymore. It's not right. And some players just don't deserve the authority or have any right to demand a trade to a certain team. Now, the player I'm gonna use for this example, Paul George. I'm pretty sure he kind of wanted out of Indy, you know, to go to OKC. I don't know if he really forced that, but you know, they traded him. He let it be known that he didn't really want to be in Indiana no more. But we won't even really count that. Let's say, okay, so he's out of Indiana. He's in OKC. He was there for 2 years, and after 1 year, he said he was staying in OKC long term. He's here to stay. And what did he do? After one more season, another disappointing playoff performance, he forced his way out, and specifically forced his way to the Clippers. That's the only place he wanted to go. And Oklahoma City got a big bag for it because the Thunder were like, y'all just fucked us. Basically, you went behind our back and got Paul George to request a trade. So, you know what? We'd do it. But you're giving us a lot of shit. And so they got a lot of shit. So the Thunder, you know, they didn't get screwed over. They got a lot of stuff for it. And Paul George got to go to the team he wanted to. Now, that is one way to adapt it. It's like, oh, if the players are going to force the situation, then you just have to give us more for it. But at the same time, I still think it's kind of fucked up because the Thunder had their own thing going. And then, boom, Paul George wants to go to the Clippers. He doesn't even want to put all the effort to play in OKC anymore. It's kind of over. Now, we've seen this a lot of times over the past 3 or 4 years of stars just requesting trades, or not even requesting it, just, demanding it and getting it. Like, the other day we saw James Harden do that. He came to the season, he wasn't fit, he wasn't in shape, He was going to clubs and stuff without wearing his mask and having to miss games because of that. He was calling out his team. Apparently, he never even tried to get to know John Wall. He wasn't interested in the Rockets. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to go to the Nets or the Sixers, and he got what the fuck he wanted. I mean, it happened. We saw Anthony Davis. He did the same thing to go to the Lakers. Now, Anthony Davis suffered in New Orleans for a long, long time. They never even got a decent team around him. They were always bad. They have 1 year where they made it to the second round. Besides that, they barely made the playoffs. And I'm not mad at him for that one. That's the only person I can kind of defend. It's like, your front office was absolutely terrible. They didn't deserve you anyways. I still wish he didn't refuse to play games and stuff like that. I wish he would just kept on playing. But, you know, I can side with Anthony Davis on that one. You know who I can't really side for it on? Kawhi Leonard. That was the weirdest thing I've ever saw. It's like he had a quad injury the whole year, didn't really play, but we never knew what the real injury was. The Spurs never really knew. Some people said the Spurs thought he was faking it, but other people said they didn't think that. I don't know, it's really weird. He just never really ended up playing for San Antonio again and forced his way out. And San Antonio ended up with DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl, and Kawhi ends up with another championship on the Raptors. See, that's not really fair, man. The Raptors get an NBA championship out of Kawhi Leonard forcing his way out, and the Spurs get DeMar DeRozan. They haven't been relevant since Kawhi left. Like, no one cares about the Spurs anymore. They made the playoffs in that first year, and now what? This is gonna be a second year in a row they don't make the playoffs probably. And last year was the first year they didn't make it in like 2 decades, bro. And it's all because of Kawhi. What about Kyrie Irving? He just got tired of LeBron one day. He's like, okay, I'm out. Let's go. And they went from having Kyrie, although you could argue they could have made a better trade. Whatever, man. They traded for Isaiah Thomas, and he wasn't the same thing. They ended up losing Jay Crowder because he didn't play that good. And they got nothing for Kyrie. All right, they ended up getting Colin Sexton, but it took years. They were trying to win championships then. They lost Kyrie. I mean, they still made it to the finals, but they only had LeBron and Kevin Love and no Kyrie, man, just because he wanted to quit. He didn't feel like being for championship for LeBron no more. No, that wasn't good enough for him. That wasn't good enough for him. Oh, what about Kristaps, man? He just went to the Knicks management. He said he wasn't happy with how things were being done, which I can understand. The Knicks management is pretty terrible. But then, that same day, apparently in that meeting, he said he wasn't really that happy and wanted to just be traded. And so they traded him. That's all it took. Didn't have to say anything else. They're like, okay, the first good thing that's happened to us in a decade. Okay, you want to go? Bye. We have traded you for Dennis Smith Jr. Nice, guys. They got screwed over, but that's just kind of Knicks being the Knicks. My point is, players keep on forcing trades. I just gave you 6 examples right there. There might even be more. I just can't really think of them right now. But I don't need to think of them, man. That's still a lot, and I can guarantee you, before 2022 was over, we're gonna see another player force a trade like this. It could be Karl Anthony Towns. That's a possibility. It could be my boy Bradley Beal. Maybe he just finally gets tired of it, but he has been loyal. I'll give him that. It could be Devin Booker, bro. What if the Suns fall off this year? I know they're doing really good right now. Let's say they fall off and they don't make the playoffs, or they barely do. And then next year, Chris Paul's not the same player he is, and they show that they're not even that great of a team anymore. And Chris Paul's not a star player, and then they miss the playoffs, and Devin Booker's like, screw this, man, I'm ready to just win. He's like, give me y'all Suns, I'm tired of it, y'all failed, y'all lose. That could happen too. I just think it's gonna happen again. It could happen with Giannis. He's signed for the next 6 years, but who knows? I mean, if they're freight players are gonna start doing it with 4 years in their contract. I really just don't like it. I think it's bad for the league, bad for the fans, bad for the team environments in general. It might be better for the individual players, but for the teams, it ruins team chemistry, ruins everything, man. I don't like it. It's fun to see in the news and everything, but we just see players moving around way too much, and I don't know, there's no team building. It's just like automatic team construction super team. Alright, we win a championship. Okay, let's leave, go to a new team, bye. That's what it seems like to me sometimes. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm tripping. Let me know down in the comment section below. If you made it this far, like and comment. I would definitely like to know who's still watching for this long. But I'm about to watch some NBA basketball. So, I'll see y'all later. Sports out.